I'm going to have us start in a slightly different way. Well, if you want to come to sit now, you can, and we'll fully find our, meditative seat in a moment. But for right now, you can just kind of sit comfortably. I want to take a second to go around, introduce ourselves, and ask, well, I'm going to ask you, and then you can share your answer, which is, if you had to think about this phrase, right, and I'm going to say the phrase, and I'm also going to buy some time for everyone to think about this pop question. But the pop question is, what do you do that brings abundance? Okay, so I'll go first and kind of just explain, in a certain way how you can answer the question, and then I'll kind of just pass it off to everybody. So, hi, my name is Lucianna, in case we never met before or you don't know my name. And what brings me abundance, which is obvious, but is teaching. And it's not just teaching, it's also being a student. So it's the duality of both, right? I really enjoy knowledge, learning for myself, questioning that knowledge, and then applying it. So what brings me abundance is being a student and then a teacher, and how I can do that simultaneously. So I'm going to leave it there just so that everyone else can share. And I'm just going to go in the order of as I see you on the screen. I'm going to say your name just so that you know it's your turn, but you introduce yourself so that I can hear your name and everyone else can hear your name. And then please, one or two things, just say, what guides you to feel abundant? What do you do? What hobbies, what practices do you have that allow you to feel abundant? And maybe it's yoga, okay? And for anyone that's not live with us, but you're watching it tomorrow or later on, feel free to listen to everybody, but also think to yourself, what makes you feel abundant, okay? So, like I said, I'm gonna go in order. I'll start with Ryan. So if you can unmute yourself and then, or I can unmute you maybe. There you go.
So my name's Ryan Herbert. I actually moved here about 6 months ago, so I'm very new to the area. What brings abundance to me would be connecting with my family and friends and just spending time with them. Although I did move away from all of them, finding different ways to connect and enjoy time together is always super important. And then another thing I would say is just overall different modalities of health and health and fitness, but in a sense too, trying a bunch of new restaurants and different food. I've enjoyed that for so often, and just love to try different cuisines and different styles of food. So I'll put that one first, because that really just, trying that stuff just brings me joy and stuff.
Cool. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
No problem. And then Lena.
For me, let me introduce myself. I'm Lena Kotari, and that's my husband, Sanjeev.
Hello.
For me, it definitely is yoga and energy from friends, just meeting people.
Cool.
I like that. Yeah.
That's great.
Yep. And so my name is Sanjeev, and for me, it would be reading and learning new things.
I like that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll mute you guys, and I'll unmute.
You want me to go?
Yes, can you hear me? Yeah.
Okay, I'm Hallie Duke. The first thing that popped in my mind when you said it was when my kids and I are together. I have 2 teenagers, and we laugh a lot. And they complain that I make their faces hurt. They're like, "Mom, stop, my face." And that brings me such joy to know that I've raised kids that I can get along with and that we laugh like that together. And today I made them just go, ah, laugh out loud. It was the best. So that always lifts my spirits and makes me feel full of love.
That's awesome. And just to touch on that real quick, a lot of the things that bring us abundance also bring us joy, right? So they go a little hand in hand. So thank you for sharing. And Chaya?
Hi, my name is Chaya. I am learning yoga from 10 years, but I started yoga in yoga tea like for next month for 5 years. Yoga tea changed my life. I was lucky, I had anxiety before. Because of anxiety, I joined in the yoga. So now I get rid of yoga, and last year I did a teacher training.
Cool.
Now I started teaching to India, my friends and family members. Morning 5:30, I taking classes to India people. I love to teach. I was the teacher in India. And now I am learning philosophy. I'm reading more philosophy and learning every day, learning new things and enjoying learning new things. So
Yeah.
I am enjoying that way.
Cool. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Thank you. And then I'll ask Victoria to share.
So I'll ask you a question first.
Ooh, ask me.
You're saying, you know, abundance often comes with joy. So how are we defining abundance? Are we talking about like what fills our soul? Is that what abundance means?
I will say yes.
Okay.
Even though we can probably get on a philosophical conversation and define so many layers to that. But for our purposes, yes, I would say what connects us to our soul, and maybe we've even started to realize it, that it's often connecting us to our senses. Whatever we're seeing, hear, you know, all of, I mean, we'll continue, but do you know what I mean?
Okay.
That connection.
Well, I'm Vicky or Victoria, and I would guess, I would say,
Yeah.
brings me abundance is caring for living things, whether it's my children, my husband, strangers, my dogs, gardening, anything where I'm supporting another life that fills my soul.
That's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, let me go to the last row here now. Jen. Oop, wait, I didn't unmute you. There you go.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, and there's so many things that bring me abundance, so I have to narrow them down. But the one thing I think is top is I do like learning new things and compacting the information into sizable bits and kind of sharing with the people who need it. So I wouldn't say I'm quite a problem solver, but if I come to new information, which I love, and I think, oh, so-and-so, this would be great. And I like connecting with people by doing that. That's top. And then exercise, because that's when I get to think about things and the information. So that's about it.
That's awesome. Great. And I think too, like if we keep thinking about it, and especially since this is our theme for practice, we're going to be finding a lot more layers to ourselves that bring us that abundance. So, but thank you for sharing. It was great. All right. So, and Anamika is how I would pronounce it, but tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, it's correct. Yeah, for me, yeah, thank you for asking. For me, actually so many things, but especially yoga, walking, and spending time with my kids.
Perfect. Those are all great. Thank you. Thank you. And then Caitlin, if you want to unmute yourself, I think maybe you have your setting on to be muted, but if you wanted to share anything that brought you abundance or brings you abundance, you're more than welcome to. And if not, that's okay too. Maybe not. That's okay, but you're here. So I'm sure yoga brings you abundance. Hey, sorry, my computer. Oh, that's okay. Oh, that's okay. If you want, you can type something real quick and feel free to share, even if it's 1 or 2 words. And I could just read it to the group through the chat box. But if you did or feel that anything that you have, skills, hobbies, practices that bring you abundance, you're more than welcome to type it in the chat. Caitlin was just saying to us that her computer doesn't have voice. So, awesome. Sure. What brings me abundance? Oh, okay. So what Caitlin is sharing is that creating crafts is what brings her abundance. Thank you for sharing. That's beautiful. Right, and everything we all said was beautiful. And a lot of the beginning of my classes, oh, Danny's signing on, or Donnie. Hi, Donnie. Wait, I'm sorry, I gotta unmute you for a second. You're great, but I'm gonna throw you into class, and this class we're talking about abundance, and I asked everybody what brings us abundance. Do you have anything to share? What do you do that brings you abundance? Maybe you can't hear me.
Okay.
Ooh, can you?
I am late.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Are you connected to audio? Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you.
Okay. So in our class, we talked about, we didn't even finish. We didn't even start yet, right? But I had everybody go around and answer this question, which is what brings you abundance?
Mm.
So off the top of your head, would you like to share anything that brings you abundance?
Connecting with other people, for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
That was great. Thank you for sharing. Perfect.
Okay.
So, and actually a couple people said that, connecting to people or having conversations with people, helping people, even passing information along to people. So point of my story here is lots of times I spend the beginning of class, 10 to 15 minutes, bringing us into that internal space, guiding us into that energy, listening to breath. And we can do that starting into our first pose. But I wanted us to create the Dharma talk together, right? Rather than just hearing my voice and what I think is abundant. You know, we got to kind of we got to share with each other and express what abundance means to you and to you and to you. And maybe you relate to some of what the other people were saying. Maybe you'll just take that information into your practice and kind of see what it brings to you, what it uncovers, and what you find. Okay, so that being said, we'll all come to a comfortable seat. From that comfortable seat, allow the eyes to close. And then bring yourself into stillness. Here, collectively, we'll notice the space of our body. We'll notice the space of ourselves within the room that you're sitting in. And we'll also observe the space that we all energetically share together. Maybe you yourself talking about abundance and hearing others talk about abundance. You can feel a slight buzz or hum. You can feel the sense of presence. For me, it's sitting along my rib cage and in the space of my diaphragm. But maybe for you, that presence is in the belly. Maybe for you, that presence is within the heart. Maybe you feel it within the hands. Maybe you feel it within the knees and the feet. But as you connect to the space of the body, will allow abundance to flourish through so that all parts can receive it. Okay, let's take one collective breath together. We'll inhale through the nose. Open the mouth to exhale. As we guide our hands into a prayer shape at heart center. Let's begin our class with the sound of Om. Taking a deep breath in. Gently bow your chin towards your chest. Take a moment to allow the vibrations to settle within the heart space, allowing them to reverberate off of the walls of the inner body, and allow them to seal your intentions for practice. So whenever you're ready, you can slowly open the eyes. You can bring the hands away. We'll come right out of our seated position and we'll allow ourselves to start in banana here as we begin our class. Now, coming into banana, we're going to allow ourselves to lay down. Both of the arms are going to come up above the head, but if you have maybe an injury or a certain tightness you don't want to explore, you can always bring one or both arms down. But we're going to allow the upper body to begin to curve to the left, and then our legs will follow as we create this banana or half moon shape. Now, of course, when we make the curve to the left, the right shoulder may lift up. Take a blanket, a pillow, propping the shoulder and the head. If your arms don't touch the floor, take that same or another blanket and prop your forearms so that your hands can relax. As far as the legs, you can take your right ankle over your left if you want more stretch, or you can bend into that right knee and place the foot on the floor. But that will be your choice. Lots of times when I come into banana pose, I just allow my heels to relax against the floor and I don't cross my legs. Just choose whatever variation works for you. And then we'll close our eyes and come to stillness. Allowing yourself to arrive. Noticing sensations of stretch in one place or in multiple places. And in yin, we want to think about riding our edge. And if you've never heard this being discussed in yin before, let me explain it real quick. In yin, we want to find a place to settle in. And we're somewhere between comfort and discomfort. We're not completely comfortable. And we're not stretching to find pain. We're just in a place between comfort and discomfort. And this gives us the gauge to ride our edge. So if you're ever too comfortable, maybe you look for a little more. If you feel that you're stretching too much too quick, look for a little less. Always being ready to adjust the body, change your props. Our responsibility here is to ride our edge. From here, within your own time, let's begin to soften. Relaxing through the many spaces within your body. Releasing into the jaw, the neck, shoulders. Allowing your spine to relax, your glutes to release. And you can release from the outer thighs, down through the knees. Releasing the muscles of the calves, and the arches of the feet. Continue to soften. Continue to ride your edge as we stay with the breath. Now, if you'd like to stay here in banana a little longer, you're more than welcome to do so. Or if you're choosing to release, let's do so slowly. Unraveling your legs, they're crossed. Maybe moving one arm down and then the opposite arm. Eventually making your way evenly on the spine. And then what intuitive movements guide you? Do you bring the knees into the chest and rock side to side? Maybe you lower the feet and windshield wiper the knees from side to side. Maybe you even lift your arms to the ceiling and then crossing, bending into the elbows, you can hug at the chest. And taking as many intuitive movements as you'd like until you're ready to find that pause. Whether you stay on the back, roll to your side body, or come to sit, can we take that moment to rebound? Rather than feeling a little more obvious sensation, now the sensation is more subtle. Noticing differences within the breath, noticing differences within the physical body, and just taking a moment to observe. Of course, if you'd like to stay here a little longer, you're more than welcome to do so. But within your own time, we're going to come to lay down on the back, and we're not going to go into the other side of banana just yet. we're gonna come into a wing stretch. We're gonna work with the arms. So again, you're still laying down on your back. Knees can bend and your feet can come flat to the floor. Picking up your low back slightly, just enough to walk your right palm and your right forearm underneath you, and then you can lower the hips. So that right arm, the right elbow bends, and you can walk your right hand and your right forearm underneath your back as much as you'd like, or not at all. So if you need to see me from being seated, my arm is basically taking a bind, but I'm doing that on the ground. So I'm laying down on my forearm. It could be as high up your spine or low as you'd like. If you need to prop your head, take a pillow. If you need to prop your right shoulder blade, prop your right shoulder blade. And then we'll take a moment. If you'd like a less challenging stretch, keep your knees bent and feet flat. If you want a little more, straighten one leg. And then if you want a little more, straighten both legs. If you ever want to back up, bend one knee or bend both knees. From there, allow the left arm to relax away from you. Maybe you bring the arm up above the head. Depending on your experience here, some people may want to take butterfly with the legs, soles of the feet together, knees come out to the sides. If you ever feel like that's riding your edge past where you need to be, let the legs go long. But as we close our eyes, and as we arrive in stillness, let's begin to observe. Let's begin to feel. As we allow ourselves to soften. Letting go of unnecessary tension. Letting go of unnecessary control. And in this way, we can let go of whatever we are carrying so that we can arrive here in this moment. As we've all shared practices that connect us to our abundance in the external world, we'll now have to find where does that abundance lie in the internal world. Can we connect to our internal senses and find that abundance? In the same way we connect to our senses in the external world. You have to gaze your inner eyes. Stare at your internal screen. You have the sound of the breath. You have the taste along your tongue and your teeth. your gums, and even your lips. Maybe there are some smells around you. And in some way, you can even smell the pose itself. How would you describe it, if you could? And as we feel the weight of our clothes touching our skin, we also feel the connection of touch from bones and muscles and organs, all interconnected through the touch of fascia. We'll stay connected with our senses here as we slowly begin to release from the pose. You may want to bend your knees and bring your feet flat to the floor. One leg at a time, no rush. Maybe you lift up your hips or just rock your hips to the left so that you can slowly release that right arm. And again, if it feels good to hug the chest or hug your body, do so. Maybe you straighten your legs and lift the feet high towards the ceiling, rolling into the ankles, moving through the feet. Allow yourself to just move the body however it wants. For example, right now I'm coming into a twist on the ground. Maybe your body wants you to come into tabletop and move through cat-cow. Maybe your body guides you into child's pose. But if you got to take out all of the rules of even yoga, can you just move naturally? And then from that natural space, you'll find stillness, and we'll come to rebound. Where you'd like to take this meditative pause. Where you'd like to feel your awareness grow, or even your sense of internal abundance. Taking that moment to observe and reflect. If you're in the middle of something, stay exactly where you are. But whenever you're ready, we're going to again, laying down flat to our spine, we'll now come into banana on the right side. So with our arms up above the head, we'll curve our upper body to the right, possibly propping your left shoulder with a blanket. Maybe propping your forearms or your hands if helpful. And then we're going to allow our lower body to curve as well. Maybe you keep your feet flat to the floor. Maybe you have your left ankle cross over the right. Or maybe your left foot steps outside of the right leg, slight bend in the left knee. Whenever you're ready, close your eyes. Come to stillness. We'll begin to arrive. As you observe sensation and check in with your edge, you can choose to soften into the body whenever you're ready. Allowing your awareness to shed some light. How are you keeping your hands? How are you keeping your wrists? How are you keeping your elbows, etc., etc.? Rather than gripping or clenching, we're asking for the body to soften. And it may be easier said than done, so we want to do this patiently. Breathing as deeply or as quietly as you'd like. Just making sure the breath stays present. We can connect abundantly within our skills and hobbies, practices, all we want in the external world. But let's truly check into the abundance that we feel in our internal space. As we allow these senses of abundance to help connect us to our spirit, to help connect us to our soul, to help connect us to our sense of self, or however you want to define it. Check in with your breath. Even check in with the gaze behind your eyes. And you have the option to stay exactly where you are here, or you can choose to release slowly. Take your time as you unravel. The slower you move, the better. To not only maintain that meditative state, but to also acknowledge the fascia, the strong and stretchy the strong and stretchy tissue. As it spent time stretching, it's now contracting back. And if you've ever had an elastic snap at your skin, it doesn't always feel the greatest. We don't want our fascia to snap back towards our joints, towards our organs, towards our bones. Allow it to be gradual. Once you've taken your movements, you'll find your pause and rebound wherever that may be. Noticing difference within the breath. Noticing awareness to your body, or maybe some awareness to your senses. And then from here, whenever you're ready, we'll again lay down on our spine. We'll bend our knees and bring our feet flat to the floor. Maybe having a pillow or blanket underneath the head or the left shoulder blade. As we allow that elbow to bend, we're gonna walk our palm and walk our forearm underneath us. For example, I have my mala on my left wrist, so if I was gonna stay in this stretch, I'd probably remove the jewelry. So if you have jewelry or a watch on or something, I suggest removing it. And then once you find maybe the palm underneath your back or most of your forearm underneath, you can choose to keep the knees bent. One leg relaxes or both legs can relax. Of course, if you want to take that option of butterfly, you can as well. Maybe you find something intuitive. Maybe you find a position of the feet, of the legs, or even the right arm, position that your body guides you towards. Softening to the pose here whenever you're ready. Softening doesn't mean we relax into the jaw once and then forget about it. Sometimes we don't even soften into the entire space. So check back in, and you'll probably have more space to soften through the jaw. More space to soften into the shoulders. More space to release of the belly and the diaphragm. And as we work to reclaim that space, we can allow abundance to enter. If parts of us may have maybe been blocked, or the fascia was just too knotted or too tight to receive. We're now allowing it to slowly and patiently. Checking in with your breath. Maybe even checking into the stillness, checking into the silence. And see what aspects of abundance they bring to you. From here within your own time. Maybe you first straighten the legs, or bend the knees to bring the feet to the floor. But you'll slowly unravel from this back winged stretch. Patiently and mindfully coming into any movements for the legs, for the arms, for the spine. And whether you roll to your side body, or maybe you even roll to your belly, or maybe you want to sit. But you'll take those movements, and then within your own time, you'll find that pause to rebound. And if at any point in these stretches, sometimes they could just be very intense and the idea of abundance seems very far away, that's okay. But maybe you can now find it here in the rebound, where all the pieces start to come together. Now when there's a little more understanding, or even better listening, we pause here and rebound. If you choose to stay where you are, you're welcome to stay. Or when you're ready, you'll come back to a seated position. No rush at all. Maybe you do that with the eyes closed. And whenever you're ready, you can even open the eyes softly. Still keeping our awareness drawn inward, but just open enough so that we can talk about the next pose. And our next pose will be caterpillar. So for caterpillar, I usually take a blanket or a pillow and I prop my tailbone so that it helps me in the support of the forward fold. Basically, caterpillar is a forward fold or Paschimottanasana, but rather than having the engagement in my belly and I, do the whole thing, right? We're just allowing ourselves to soften. So it's called caterpillar. Now within that, you may want to take a pillow or a few blankets, and however you want to prop your chest, maybe you take a block or some books, prop your forehead. But something that I'd like to mention in caterpillar here is if you feel that your knees lock when they're straight, or if they're really tight and the knees just don't go down, regardless, I'd like you to take a blanket, maybe puff it up a little bit, and prop your knees, whether it's both legs or one leg. Sometimes both knees need it, sometimes just one knee needs it. And then same idea, maybe you're gonna hug your bolster, your pillows, or your blankets. Maybe you choose to fold a little more, but still have the prop there. Okay, so finding your own variation, of course. Remember, if you have a question, you're more than welcome to ask. And then whenever you're ready, you'll close your eyes. We'll come to stillness. Whether your spine stays a little more straight or your spine rounds slightly and folds, both are great options. Just choose what makes sense for your edge. Honor the edge. Find some place between comfort and discomfort. And then we'll ask ourselves to find stillness there. If you haven't already, let's begin that process of softening. As we let go of unnecessary tension held within the muscles, within the bones, within the fascia. We're letting go of unnecessary control, like clenching of the belly, tightening the glutes, squeezing at the calves. Asking ourselves to slowly and patiently release. And softening in a way to honor all body parts. So let's say your neck and your shoulders, their edge is a little more sensitive than your hamstrings. Your hamstrings want to be pushed, but your shoulders and your neck say back off. So we want to honor the edge that's talking to us most. And I promise you that is one way to see improvement within your yin practice, within your flexibility, within your strength. Check back in with the breath. Check back in with the gaze behind your eyes. course, if you'd like to stay in caterpillar a little longer, you're more than welcome to do so. Or if in your own time, you can slowly let the props fall out of the way, walking yourself up to sit. Maybe it feels good to even rub your hands along your thighs, along your knees, massaging at the calves and the shins. Of course, if you want to bring your hands behind you, windshield wipering the knees maybe from side to side. But of course, just taking your own intuitive movements. I'll cross at the shins, reaching my arms high and letting myself twist. And then maybe I take that to the other side. For this rebound, I'll bring my feet flat to the floor. I'll wrap my arms around my shins and bring my forehead down. You choose where your body guides you to rebound. Where we can find that meditative pause. As we reflect and observe, whether it's about finding that abundance, remembering that abundance, or even discovering it. So from there, as we slowly open our eyes, we're going to begin to prepare ourselves for Shavasana. And in doing so, maybe you want to use a couple different props here. So for example, I'm going to roll up one blanket so I can prop my knees and my shins. I'll choose to lay on my back. I'll take another blanket to cover my body, or maybe let it be a little weight for the hips. Maybe I have another one for the feet. And then possibly taking a pillow, back to support the head. Right? And then from there, allowing myself to relax. Of course, if you're more comfortable on your side body, roll to the side. If you're more comfortable on your belly, allow yourself to roll to the belly, right? And of course, be comfortable with your props here as well. Just choosing any final shape. And if you use a couple different props, great. Maybe you use no props at all. That's okay too. We just want to make sure we're completely comfortable. Allowing the feet to have space, and the hands to have space. And then whenever you're ready, you'll close your eyes. We'll come to stillness. So our Shavasana is our final rebound. And all of our mini rebounds during practice were like small Shavasanas. And as we allow our practice and our thoughts and our feelings to be absorbed by the body, the mind may take a few moments to reflect, observe, maybe analyze. And the heart will spend some time feeling, inquiring, maybe questioning. That is, as we all make our way to stillness, let's begin to arrive into our Shavasana. Very gently, let's begin to deepen the breath. Just notice the presence of your inhales. Notice the presence of your exhales. As you allow yourself to arrive back into the space of your body. And you'll arrive back into the space of this room. And then arrive back into the space of the rooms that we all energetically share. Within your own time, you may decide to take some small, gentle movements. Maybe you first awaken the hands and the wrists, and then you awaken the ankles and the feet. Moving mindfully, if it feels good to reach the arms up above the head and take a full body stretch, you can. And then maybe we bend into the knees, bring the feet flat to the floor, and gently windshield wiper the knees from side to side. Now, you have the option here to let those legs, again, relax long, or choose to bring the soles of the feet together, knees out wide. Just pausing, you have the option to pause for a moment in butterfly. Or ultimately, relax into a place of your choosing. And within this variation of a pose, just for a few moments, can you find yourself arriving differently? After an entire practice, after a deep shavasana, do you find yourself arriving intuitively and abundantly, and even a little more knowledge and wisdom behind your choosing? Whatever pose you just paused within, again, allow yourself to unravel, whether it's movements to the legs, movements to the arms. And then very gently, we'll roll to either the left or right side of the body. Just building that intuitive, abundant connection that lives within. No right or wrong. And if you'd like to end your practice on your side body, you're more than welcome to stay. Or within your own time, you can gently press down into the floor and come back to a seated shape. If you're sitting, maybe you again take that blanket, prop the tailbone. Of course, if you feel a little cold, you can keep a blanket on the hips or guide that blanket around the shoulders. Whenever you're ready, you'll find stillness. And then reclose the eyes in case they've opened. Taking a moment to reflect on practice. Taking a moment to reflect on what brings you abundance within your external world. Maybe even reflecting upon some of the things we heard that bring other people abundance in their external worlds. And then can we see that connective thread to guide us to our internal world, to lead us into our internal space, connecting with abundance there. Let's also notice the natural lift of the spine. We'll also notice any freedoms within the breath and any space or clarity in the mind. Let's find a few cleansing breaths together here. We'll inhale through the nose and then open the mouth to exhale. Again, like that, deep breath in. And a deep breath out. One more time, inhale fully. And exhale completely. You can keep your hands relaxed within the lap. Bring them into a prayer shape at heart center. And you can listen to the sound of Om, or you're welcome to join me as we close our class together. Let's take a deep breath in. Very gently bow your chin towards your chest. Thank you for practicing with me this evening, being elevated through our yoga. Namaste. Yay! Thank you, thank you, thank you.